And hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha T. Wolf with a slightly new haircut.
And as always, we're back here. And as always, we're back here again for the first time in... Let me check how long it's been. This is as of recording, mind you.
2 weeks? I think it's only been 2 weeks.
No, remember we didn't record last week, but we did. But the episode that we recorded before he got corrupted.
Oh, yep, right. Right.
Somebody didn't have any
for whatever
audio.
reason, it did not record. My
Speaking
audio
of,
was not in the last one.
Did you check? Did you check the audio this time?
It should be working right now. According to OBS, I have audio waveforms, so should be working this time.
All right. Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks as a recording, so it hasn't been that bad, but still. Now, unfortunately, now as a big surprise to everybody, TabbyCat406 is unable. Well, our other host is not in this episode.
Mm-hmm. He'll become less busy one day.
Yeah. He's currently in his latter years of high school. As a result, that makes him very busy.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I have enough time to run a YouTube channel and do my podcast is because I don't participate in any after-school activities or anything.
Meanwhile, I have a full-time job, and I'm trying to balance that and also this, and I'm exhausted. I'm just so exhausted.
Well, I guess the only way to get started, I guess it's now as good a time as any to get into our first topic, which is that there is an Apple event that was announced for May 7th at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time.
I think it's going to be pretty darn obvious what's going to be announced at this May event.
Yeah, because if you look at the Apple invite me, it shows a picture of an Apple Pencil, so it's pretty clear that it's going to be iPad and Apple Pencil focus, which I'm pretty stoked for, since the iPad Air 6 if they announce a new mini at this event, that my iPad Air 5 is still doing fine for now, but the mini 7 might be my next iPad, just because I just want a smaller iPad.
I'm surprised you'd want a smaller iPad. Like, what makes you want to downsize the iPad?
The reason, well, I just don't have enough means to buy a full. The only reason why I went full with a full-sized iPad, the only reason why I've gone full-size in the past with my iPad 7th generation, I went full-size because it was the cheapest iPad available. With my iPad Air 5, I went full-size because I had enough money, and because I wanted the keyboard case, because I used it a lot in my 7th generation, but now I don't really use it, so the keyboard case, so therefore if I can't use the keyboard case, I might as well get the cheapest flagship iPad, which is the iPad Mini.
That and like when you do typing stuff, don't you? Well, it's either you're using your school iPad with its own keyboard case they issued, or I suppose the only other device you'd use really is your MacBook, and that's because it's really got a great built-in dedicated
I actually like using the on-screen keyboard for typing. And I've used iPad minis as my personal iPads before, as if I go and oops. So actually, I want to type my MacBook on the board, but in case you might have forgotten, my iPad Mini 1 and my Mini 2 used to be my main iPads once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is my Mini 3.
Yeah, well, I guess while you're thinking of downsizing
too.
an iPad screen real estate, I keep thinking of upsizing.
Yes, especially with that rumored iPad 12.9-inch iPad Air.
It all depends on how they price it, though. That is the ultimate thing. It all depends on how Apple prices this thing, because like the iPad Air I have right now was already a very hard sell, and yes, I got it, but I don't really think I should have paid as much as I did for it because the biggest issue that I have with
Yeah,
iPads from
iPad
a
OS
hardware
isn't
perspective
professional
is,
enough for the
well,
hardware.
that, and also like I've been using my smartphone, and I always get the biggest smartphone possible because my rule of thumb: you go big or you go home in terms of screen real estate. And the thing was, I had a big smartphone and I had a laptop. I didn't really have much room for a device in between, and the ultimate reason why I justified an iPad was to use as a secondary display for my Mac while I'm traveling.
But you don't even
So,
travel that often, so you might as well just buy a dedicated monitor for cheaper.
yeah,
Or dedicated.
precisely. I mean, I got my two Samsung 32-inch 4K monitors here, which were definitely much more worth their prices. Oh, I love these monitors so much, but it's just for this thing here, the biggest value that I get out of it is secondary monitor, but again, that's for when I'm traveling, and you know how frequently I travel. Though this summer, I'm hearing, is going to get extremely busy for me, actually. So,
Or you're going to be taking more
this
road
will
trips
definitely come
besides
to
North
use.
Carolina.
Well, I got a lot of family graduations to attend, so yeah, it turns out my weekends are going to be filled with a lot of quick trips to Wisconsin and Minnesota. Well, maybe Minnesota. I'm not too sure. Probably not Minnesota, but oh well. Yeah, I got a lot of. It sounds like I'm going to have a lot of trips planned for the summer. So, I mean, yeah. Then there's the big North Carolina road trip that finally I got scheduled. So I got a calendar set and everything's in place. Just gotta wait for the day to come before I leave. But, all right, anywho, that aside, yeah, extra monitor for when I travel. Um, I'm struggling to be able to say Photoshop anymore, and that's because most of the time I don't actually have time to pull this out and use the Apple Pencil to do anything with it. So I just use the Photoshop app on the Mac. I just find that more convenient instead of having to look for a separate device. There's really not a lot that I use this device for. It's mostly YouTube. It's really mostly just a YouTube content consumption. And
Yeah, I
again,
can.
$500 for a YouTube content consumption device. I don't. To me, that is really unnecessary. So, yeah, there's not a lot I can justify in terms of getting the iPad Air in the first place. So, though I do know with that 12.9 inch, it will be much more closer in screen size compared to my MacBook Pro. That's one of the biggest complaints I have with this setup right now. It's just it feels so mismatched. I got big 16-inch display and then a 11-inch, and the size difference is pretty big. So I would like to have a 12.9-inch iPad to actually, or 13-inch iPad that would be much more comparable to the size of the 16-inch MacBook Pro's display. But again, it's like if all I'm looking for is like the real value I'm getting out of it is just a secondary display, then why not buy like a 16-inch $900 display off of Amazon or something like that?
Well, you don't have a great buying experience with Amazon, but that's aside the point. What the
Yeah, so
what my point? What I the main reason I use my iPad as a prime. I don't often because I started out with you because I started out my tech ecosystem life with an iPad in the first place. I learned how to do everything on my iPad, so now I still do everything on my iPad because I find my iPad more convenient than my MacBook. But I still but now that I'm thinking but now but I don't know, it's just that I like my iPad and it's a great device, but I get that they're not exactly the greatest value.
yeah, that's the thing. The hardware is. I know it's the hardware that's costing Apple a lot of money and is the reason why they're charging high prices, but the problem is they haven't done anything with the software, so every single hardware improvement they make, it just doesn't matter.
I mean, they do stuff to the software, but it's stuff that genuinely no one cares about. Like, this is one of the biggest reasons why I don't update my iOS devices unlike I used to, which is because I don't find the features exciting at all.
So
I haven't been excited for a new.
Combined with that and the fact that our smartphones have gotten so big and it almost seems like once upon a time when phones used to be small, there was room for a tablet because small portable thing that you fits in your hand and all that, and then you got the big device that stays at home for the content consumption and well, just having a nice big touchscreen being there. Except the problem is, I think that our smartphones have gotten so big and they're kind of absorbing the function of tablets.
Yeah, I can definitely.
It really just hasn't helped with justifying iPads.
Yeah, I can definitely admit to this because I do a lot. Because I look at my phone. I look at my phone now a lot. Or I don't want to say I look at my phone all the time because I still use my iPad more than my phone. But I do admit there are some times when I'm starting to use but I do admit that ever since. Let me grab some phones. Okay, back when my iPhone 8 Plus was my main phone, I used my phone some, but I didn't use it a whole lot. But by the time I upgraded to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the biggest phone I've ever used as a main, that was when I actually felt more comfortable using my phone for daily tasks.
Yeah.
I was just reaching for my phone when my iPad when I didn't want to reach for my iPad, which especially helped because when I first started using my 11 Pro Max, I did not have reliable iPads.
Yeah, and then this year we're supposedly getting even bigger iPhones.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I know I've gone on this ramble too much, but smartphones are getting way too big.
Well, personally, I'm all for it because you know me, but I do agree that there should be there should be options for people who either have smaller hands and have difficulty holding big phones, or there should be an option for a smaller smartphone.
Because I have the complete opposite. My hands are gigantic, but I still prefer carrying a smaller phone because I like phones that can fit in my pocket easily.
Yeah, it is an issue that I have where my big phones don't like to fit in my jeans pockets a lot, but
yeah,
there's a reason why I only wear jeans for work and nowhere else.
Yeah, my iPhone 14 Pro my iPhone 14 Pro doesn't really fit. Has a bit of a hard time fitting in my jeans pockets, especially of my Old Navy jeans.
So,
but
yeah,
I don't have to worry about that now since I won't have to worry. Hopefully, I won't have to worry about that until October.
Yeah. Anywho, so can you think of anything else that Apple might launch at this event?
There has been a whole lot rumored, so I honestly don't know.
I'm trying to speculate to see if Apple potentially has any other products that they'd release aside from iPads.
I mean, Apple hasn't. I mean, the big thing that we haven't. The biggest thing is that we haven't. is that Apple historically in the past I believe in the past 20 years, Apple has not held a single May event.
Yeah, I found this odd too because I never recollected any memories of there being a May event. Like the April event was already odd enough in 2020 or 2021.
2021.
Yeah, 2021. That's when they had the April event.
But they had
That was already odd enough to me. This is even weirder.
Yeah, because the May. Yeah, I get it. 'Cause Apple has historically held January events, as there used to be Macworld, with a big Macworld conference every single year. And the iPhone got unveiled in January of 07. The Mac Mini, an updated Mac Mini, and the iPod Hi-Fi debuted in January of 06. I believe the original Mac Mini debuted in January of 05. The Apple had a January of 08 keynote when they unveiled the first MacBook Air. They had a January 2010 keynote when they unveiled the first iPad. So it makes sense for Apple to hold a January event. Apple's historically has held some February. No, Apple hasn't actually historically held that many February events, but no, I don't actually have any memory of that.
I don't recall any February at all.
Yeah. March, Apple usually hosts their spring events in March.
If they have one.
Yeah.
Because they don't always have one every year.
April. They did an event in April 2021 and one in April 2010.
Because, yeah, if I recall, 2021 was their second April event, so because I knew they've done an April event before that.
Yeah. April of 2010 was actually Dub.
Really?
Yeah, back
June?
then that. Okay, yeah, desk view.
I was gonna say, what happened?
There we go.
What happened there?
It switched to my iPhone 14 Pro's desk view camera, but getting back on topic, but Apple used to, up until 2011, Apple did their refreshed iPhones every June, which is a cycle that I miss. And I think it would make more business sense to unveil new iPhones in June.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning for releasing products at specific times, but I guess that's a mystery that will only be unveiled by the marketing department if we ever get to interview them, which I highly doubt is ever going to happen.
I actually know why. I actually know how Apple unveiling iPhones in June could help them. It's rather than September or October.
It's the start of summer.
My biggest reason is that the biggest problem that Apple has in the smartphone market, which is why they usually unveil a new iPhone color mid-cycle, is to spice things up again, get more attention, which I think is a bit of a marketing scam. However, if Apple unveiled them earlier in the year, then if they unveil them in June, then that way it would still be halfway in the cycle, so that way you would have 6 months of peak buying time when everybody would be buying phones around Christmas time, up until Christmas time. So you'd have 6 months of peak sales versus 3 months.
Yeah, I suppose that would make a lot of sense, but...
Huh?
Then again, I suppose that would make a lot of sense, but then again, when does Apple's marketing department ever make sense?
Though I have a better idea for what Apple could do for iPhone.
What do you think?
To space them out, to get more... What my idea is that so that way Apple can bring more Pro down features quicker. If they're going to keep doing this Pro this Pro iPhone / standard iPhone thing, which I really don't. I think Apple should just have one iPhone every year. Do it like they used to, but getting back on topic, the iPhone 4. My idea is that Apple could release the Pro iPhones in September at their September event, and then release the standard versions of the Pro iPhones at a later March event or something. So that way, it'll be mid-cycle. So that way, people will want. So that way, the average Joes that would normally buy new phones in March would. So that way, we keep Apple's iPhone sales up in tippy-top shape.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they stagger the release instead of dumping, 4, 5 phones on us at once. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how many they're going to dump on us this year. It seems like they are always trying to increase the number of phones they dump on us.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great for marketing, because just let's take this 2024 as an example. Let's say that Apple unveiled the standard iPhone 15 this March instead of last September. Then it would give enough time. Then there would be around 6 months before people would start not upgrading unless they had to. But once it got mid-cycle, then the 16 Pro would come out in September. So that way then all the tech enthusiasts would go buy, and then the Pros would have a peak sales for another 6 months, and then just as the Pro sales begin to die out, then the regular sales will come back on.
I wonder. This is purely speculation. There's nothing to back this up. Could we see an iPhone SE at this event? Because so far, Apple's released the second SE, 2020. The next one, 2022, is 2024.
The rumors haven't backed this up, but again, you never know.
That's why I said this is purely speculation.
But it might be. That would make sense, given that Apple. Technically, this year is the year that Apple would have to put, if they're going to follow EU regulations, they have to make a USB-C iPhone SE.
That would be true. Yes.
They're going to have to. So, imagine if we're the first. I think we might be the first people to predict that there could be an iPhone SE at this event.
That we might be, actually, because I haven't watched a single, Apple announced an event, let's talk about what might be coming at it. Dang, I should have brought that up in my video. Darn it.
Yes.
Because, I'm just thinking of this now. I'm like, when does Apple have an event that's dedicated for only one product line, aside from the whole M1 Mac announcement? And I think it deserved its own special event in November of 2020.
That's true. They only do that when they announce new product categories, and so therefore,
there's got to be more than just iPads. So that's why I'm thinking, what else could they possibly announce? AirPods? That's boring. Why would anyone care about that? Because seriously, what's wrong with AirPods nowadays? But the iPhone SE, that
needs enough. That won't be my video tomorrow, because the video that I am making tomorrow will be about the iPod video, a retrospective on that. But my video on Tuesday, I might have to my video on Tuesday, I might have to mention the theory.
Yeah, there's nothing to back us up. There's no leaks. There's no rumors. This is purely speculation. It's just that it almost makes sense.
And more importantly, if my marketing strategy comes into play, then it would be it would be towards the end of the cycle, and people are going to stop buying iPhone 15s.
Yeah, it is roughly around time for a mid-cycle. It's actually a little late for a mid-cycle refresh. So.
Yeah. Or wait. I hope Apple doesn't do this, but do you think there could be an new iPhone 15 colors at this event? Since if you think about it, those usually aren't rumored ahead of time. But if you think about it, Apple did not unveil a white iPhone 15, so they could release that as a special color. Or they didn't release.
I don't know.
They didn't release pure white.
Yeah, but can you really call? At this point, I resorted to referring to all the iPhone 15 colors as, can you even call them colors?
Yeah.
They're so pale and ashamed of themselves to be a color. Can you even call them colors?
Or the product red was notably missing from the standard iPhone 15 this year. But
I don't know why they abandoned that.
It was still in the Apple Watch Series 9 though. And if history tells us anything, remember when the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 got product red color finishes in the mid-cycle refresh, then that would make sense, since product red would have to be made more limited quantity, since red paint is very expensive.
Yeah, it is.
But more important, oh my. Remember the rumors for a red iPhone 15 Pro? Before it released?
I doubt they're going to do it. I doubt
I'm just
that Apple's
thinking,
going
because
to do it.
They might have needed a little extra time to make it, but they could do a product red iPhone 15 Pro. This is just purely speculation.
I highly doubt they are.
But they could. Oh, man.
The thing is, though, they've had how long to make a product red Pro colored iPhone, and they still haven't done it.
I really want Apple. In my opinion, these should be the 4 colors of the Pro iPhone lineup: red, blue, black, and white.
Oh no, I still like a gold. So maybe 5 colors.
Yeah, that might be fair.
Because I have the white Pixel 6 Pro. I really wish I had the champagne one, to be honest. I don't. I think what's ruining the color of the Pixel 6 Pro, the white, I think it's this gray bar up top. It just, somehow it makes it look old and aged.
Yeah, that probably doesn't help, but...
So, yeah, I wish this was the champagne, but I like gold phones. I mean, why do you think I got this one?
Why do you think my past... Why do you think my past... Hang on, let me take this out. Why do you think my past... 1, 2, 3, 4... 4 main phones have been gold? I mean, it was technically because for the first 3 phones were hand-me-downs and there were no other colors available for the iPhone 14 Pro when I bought it, but...
Well, why didn't you pick that color again if you had the choice today?
No, I actually wanted the purple. Either the purple or the space black iPhone 14 Pro. Gold was actually going to be my last choice, as I wanted either purple, space black, or silver.
No, all the black phones are always my last choice. I for whatever reason, I don't like them.
You don't even like jet black iPhone 7?
No, I don't.
I really wish Apple made a jet black iPhone again.
Maybe it's because of Marquez's matte black everything. That
might be true, since
since
Marquez Brownlee loves matte black, even though I'm not. I have a black MacBook Pro, and it's not a bad color. But if they offered a jet black like on the iPhone 7 series, which seriously, Apple, make a jet black MacBook Pro. it'd be really nice. But if they had offered a jet black option, even assuming the colors were only jet black, space black, and silver, I would go for jet black.
Yeah, I'd still go silver any day of the week. But that's just me. It's all color preference and such. So.
Although Apple doesn't exactly make good colors for their computers anymore. Or really for any of their products.
Dude, I miss that gold from the wedge shape, the last wedge shaped MacBook Air. I miss that gold so much.
Apple should just have a consistent color line for all their products, or else if they have a Pro line and a standard line, they should just have if you buy a Pro Apple product, then you get the Pro colors. If you buy a regular Apple product, you get the regular colors.
There's a lot of things they do that frustrate me, and it's their color. Their color palettes are definitely one of them. They have one. I don't know how to describe it. It's just their color palettes are just simply bad.
Apple used to have such a good color palette as back in the days of back when the iPhone 4S was the latest iPhone. There weren't you didn't get midnight or starlight. It was black or white.
Yep. And then the color palette of the original iMac in the iBook clamshell.
Oh my. Well,
that is a color palette.
There's a reason why so many people want to complete the color lineup of those computers.
Yeah. I mean, technically, Apple still has the color palette with the iMac.
And it's honestly not.
It's really good.
Honestly really good colors. They're not bad colors either. But I want Apple to make I wish Apple would make the MacBook Air this colorful.
Yes. Oh, why such a missed opportunity?
The only reason why Apple reverted away from colors in the first place was because it was cheap. Was because they didn't want to make such a bold design and they wanted to make their computers cheaper, but it's time, Apple.
Yeah. Such a missed opportunity. All those leaks that pointed towards the new redesigned MacBook Air having the same color palette as the iMac and getting white bezels and all of that. I wanted that so badly to come out, and I feel so let down by what they actually delivered.
I like that too.
I'm at least grateful that after my many years of complaining about Macs, they finally gave us a 15-inch MacBook Air. In fact, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I got to try one out.
Did you like it?
A lot. In fact, I think I can confidently say if I didn't have my 16-inch MacBook Pro, I probably would have gotten that 15-inch MacBook Air. But I have my 16-inch MacBook Pro, so there's no point in getting that MacBook Air. It's just
I also have the 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Laptop. Just such a great laptop. All right. Well, anywho, I think we've strayed off from our incredibly long list of topics.
Oh yeah, we still have 24 more topics, and this is 34 minutes in. Why do I think we're not going to get to all of them?
I don't know. We're probably going to have to rush through them, but as I'm reading through this, I have a feeling we're going to glimpse over them real quick. Anywho, continue down the list.
Alright, so the next topic is that Apple is letting used genuine parts enter iPhones, and they're going to start reducing parts pairing.
This is a good thing. This is actually a good thing. Because one of the many things about that whole thing that just didn't make sense to me, if you're going to encrypt something, encrypt the storage. And that's just for plain obvious reasons.
Yeah, you don't need to encrypt
Right?
stuff like the battery. Like, no one can hack a phone through a battery.
Yeah, that's not how it's going to work. So, yeah, there's no need to do a bunch of encryption for part in order for it to work like that. It only makes a hassle for everybody involved. It makes a hassle for the consumer when their device breaks. It means they gotta spend more money to get it fixed. It creates a bigger hassle for Apple as well because, well, when the device needs to get fixed, who's the only one that's able to fix it?
Apple.
And then it's adding extra complication on their part. Because quite often, once a new genuine Apple part comes in that replaces the old broken one, typically there has to be a serial reprogramming or something of that nature, if I recall.
Yep.
A step that can be completely bypassed. So, yeah, this is a good thing. I've never liked how Apple has handled repairing their devices. It has always been bad. This is actually a good step towards making them more repairable, and I'm proud of them for doing that. You got to give credit where credit is due. That's a good move.
Yep. And meanwhile, on bad news that Apple didn't make the choice on, we now need to talk about Alt Store on iOS in the EU.
You're referring to alternative app stores or a specific store?
It's called Alt Store, and they're most notable for creating Delta, the Delta Nintendo Game Boy emulator.
Okay, I know nothing about this. You're going to have to explain.
So basically, because in the European Union, Apple was forced to allow sideloading on the iPhone. As a result,
Yep.
One of the first third-party app stores to open up was Alt Store, and the same developers who developed Alt Store, one of the most popular app store right now is Delta Emulator. But
yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. The EU can go suck it.
Especially because emulators, are not always legal.
No. That, and also, it's an emulator. You have degraded performance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about that other than the EU can go suck it, but we've been saying that for how many episodes?
Oh, don't worry. We have another EU topic to cover, which is really going to tell them to suck it.
No. You have got to be kidding me.
Alright, I forgot you can see it. Yes.
Yes.
The European Union's new bill is letting competitors have access to Apple Pay.
No, that is not the point of Apple Pay!
The point of Apple Pay is
No!
so you can use all your cards with it like normal. Like, there's literally no competitive advantage to this whatsoever. I think we wore this topic out enough.
Just... That is not the point of Apple Pay!
Yes.
It is a feature of the iPhone! It is not a dedicated app, it is a feature of the iPhone!
Yep.
Apple, why have you not pulled out yet? You're being torn apart, piece by piranhas!
Alright, well, speaking of government bodies restricting technology, now we have a good topic to talk about, which is that
Yes.
U.S. President Joe Biden has officially signed the TikTok ban to law, meaning that TikTok either has to ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, either has to divert all their TikTok stock, all of TikTok ownerships to be outside China, or else they will be banned within 9 months. Now, we've gone to this in plenty of other episodes, but I'm thrilled for this because TikTok sucks and it is damaging
Yes.
a lot of people.
We do not need this app at all.
Huh?
It's been nothing but a disgrace to humanity.
Yep. All right. Well, we got that
So,
topic covered.
Thank God.
But now we have another topic to talk about, which is that Google just launched their equivalent to their Find My Device for network for all Android devices running at least Android 9, which is intended to keep.
That's a bit odd.
What's odd?
Couldn't you just Google where your phone was?
I don't know.
Because literally, I lost an Android tablet once upon a time, and the way I found it was I actually looked it up on Google, where is my tablet? And it worked. I found my tablet just by Google searching, where's my tablet? Kind of cool, actually.
I didn't know that.
Go to a random search engine to find it. So, yeah, they already had this, so that's why I'm a bit confused. Why... what are they doing?
Well, we all know what Google does. Just kill one service, replace it with another one that does the exact same thing. Have multiple services do the same thing.
Yeah, I hope that they don't get rid of that feature, though, because one thing that I don't like about the Apple Find My network is, what if you can't find any of your Apple devices?
Yeah.
With Google, you can at least use any device, somebody else's, without... Well, I mean, you'd have to sign into your Google account, so that way it knows what you're talking about. But all you have to do is sign into your Google account on a public computer or something. Google, where is my phone? Where's my tablet? Boom! Just like that.
Yeah, whereas on iOS,
that way is much harder.
Unless you sign into iCloud, which again often requires two-factor authentication.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem with that. You need two-factor authentication to sign into iCloud on a new computer, so that really defeats the point. How do you find your iPhone then?
Apple should just get rid of two-factor authentication.
It is a bit of an annoying stuff. I get why they do it, but I mean, there's even a problem with two-factor authentication where it can easily be spoofed anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's something dumb that I think about when it comes to signing into a Google account. You know how every time you sign into your Google account on a new device, you get this email that says, "New device sign in." Here's the problem that I have with that. If, say, somebody manages to hack into your Google account, signs into your Google account, that email comes through, well, guess what? They signed into your Google account. They have access to your Gmail. So that way they can go in, tap that, yep, this was me, it's okay, and you'll never know it!
That's why I have that go to my iCloud mail, so that way I'll know.
Isn't that dumb?
I never thought about it before, but yes, it is dumb.
That is so dumb. How... The point of it is to make you aware that somebody else has signed into your account without your authorization, except it is so easy. The problem is the way you take care of it is by signing into that exact same... Oh, there's just some things that they completely forget about, and it just makes them look so stupid for forgetting such a detail. That would be an important detail you might not want to screw up, and they already screwed that up, so they've been doing this for years.
Alright, I guess Please fix that, Google.
Yeah,
I guess our new
it's really dumb.
I guess our next topic is that Meta has announced an open source Meta AI to compete with ChatGPT.
Yeah, the only thought I have is don't take them up on their offer because you know exactly what they're going to do with that
Yep.
open source AI. It's been proven time and time again in history. So, to
Yeah.
anybody who actually has even half a brain, don't take up Meta. Don't take up Meta on this offer. And then the final thing is, again, it's AI. It's the new buzzword. It's really the new 5G.
Yep.
Like, I can't care about it anymore. AI it's the new 5G, where nothing else matters but 5G. If your thing does not have 5G, then, well, what are you doing? Do you have a brain? That is exactly the same case with AI here. I'm sorry. It is not as important as everyone is making it out to be. And I am... This is even more annoying because 5G basically only applied to cell phones for obvious reasons. But AI is capable of being integrated into so many other things aside from smartphones, which means we're seeing this everywhere,
Like even
making it even more annoying.
like there's even so many AI gadgets.
Did we talk about Marquez's AI pin review? Because evidently there's a whole controversy on that now.
What's the controversy?
So, about a month ago, Marquez reviewed the Fisker Ocean, and then conveniently everybody found out that Fisker is apparently filing for bankruptcy. And they're all blaming Marquez for his bad... He called the Fisker Ocean the worst car he's ever reviewed.
Oh.
That was the title of his review. The worst car he has ever reviewed. And because, well, Fisker's in the process of filing for bankruptcy, at least that's what I've heard last, they're all associating Marquez with... They think Marquez is the reason Fisker now has to file for bankruptcy. It's because of that review. When the truth is, actually, Fisker was about to do this even before Marquez came out with his review. So, yeah, there's that. But not too long after that, Marquez came out with his review of the Humane AI pin.
Oh,
and he called that
Humane
review
filing for bankruptcy?
No, but he called that review the worst tech product he has ever reviewed.
That says something.
So, because of the whole Fisker situation, I mean, I have no clue if Humane's going to file for bankruptcy or not. I don't completely think so because it seems like they've really done a good job at securing their funding. But just, there's so much wrong with this product. AI aside, it is completely a bad product. You have to watch that review.
I watched
Seriously.
Mr. Mobile's review, so I know how bad it is.
Oh, yeah, it is truly terrible. And actually, I found another video online where somebody was talking about the whole Marquez controversy, and he also decided he was going to react to a news... It was something on, was it CNBC or something? I don't... It was something on big mainstream media. He watched an interview. He was reacting to an interview where the CEO of Humane and there's another representative or something, they come on and they try to explain their product. And the entire time, during that entire interview, when they were marketing their product towards us, it was literally... The device itself doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that it's powered by AI. That was it. It was... the projector... that's not the important part.
Even though the
they were
projector
actually
is
asking
really
good
cool.
questions like... Yeah, they were asking good questions like, okay, how do I quietly respond to a text message without somebody knowing? Because for the most part, if you want to send a quick reply, you can pull up your Apple Watch and quickly tap some stuff to send quick replies and such. But with the Humane AI pin, well, you got you got the projector option, but that doesn't work very well at all. In fact, it's very limited in what it can do, actually. And so that leaves you to only one other option, and that's to say out loud your message to a voice dictation system. And again, the point is to quietly send a text message out in secret. Yeah, how does it do that? It can't do that. They were asking legitimate questions because guess what? People do that. People do quietly text on their phones while doing something else at the same time, be it in a meeting or who knows what else. People do that. It's a genuine use case, and this product can't do it. Their response to that is, that doesn't matter. What matter is it's all powered by AI.
They clearly just think they can make money off of the fact that it's AI powered.
It seems like it's so scammy. I get nothing but scam vibes from this.
Yeah, I wonder if other people besides tech reviewers gotten the humane AI pin yet?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked that deep into it.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, just
order.
Trying to understand the whole concept of this thing. It is the only words I have to say for it is doomed to fail. It is such a bad product, and like the way it tries to function, the way it's performing in terms of how it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do, it's bad. It doesn't perform the way it should. It doesn't perform as advertised. And even then, what use case can you really get out of this when at the same time, for one, your smartwatch can do it better? just saying, your smartwatch is able to do that better, and you can make a smartwatch powered by AI. Just so you know. I bumped my mouse. All right, we're back recording. And then the smartphone. It's this whole argument about how everyone's looking for the next big thing after the smartphone. The problem is the smartphone itself is so good. It does it better. It just does it better. So, yeah. But anywho, the whole Marquez controversy thing is he's putting out these negative reviews and he's calling it the worst product ever. And the reason for the whole controversy is they think that because Marquez is so large and so influential, he thinks that they think that he has the power to kill companies. So
I don't necessarily think that.
No, in fact, what really kills the companies is companies that actually make bad products. It's never a bad review that kills a company. It is always the product itself. In theory, the way a review is supposed to work, the reviewer doesn't do any of the talking. The product speaks for itself. That is how a review is supposed to work.
Like a humane AI pin speaks for itself by letting you know that it's a crappy product.
Yep. Yeah. The AI pin performing poorly in so many different scenarios. That's the AI pin speaking for itself about whether it is a good product or not. It is not a good product. So, yeah. Thought I'd address that controversy, but yeah, I know we strayed really far off that topic, but the point is, again, AI, it's another buzzword. Don't even pay any attention to it. Seriously.
All right, our next crucial topic is that Polestar just teased the Polestar phone in one of their latest videos.
What? Polestar? The car company?
Yep.
I highly doubt this is going to sell well. It is going to sell in extremely low numbers.
Yeah, it's a smartphone apparently in companion to its cars.
The only reason why I think people would buy it is purely for design and for brand loyalty towards Polestar.
And technically, Polestar is owned by Volvo, so I mean, this is technically Volvo making a phone.
Not Volvo doesn't own them anymore. Actually,
Oh.
Polestar has separated and has become their own brand.
Oh, it's Polestar.
This happened a couple months ago, I think.
Oh yeah, there's still be.
Because, yeah, if I recall, the way it ended was Polestar has requested that they start their own independent funding separate from Volvo, and at this point they have completely split off from Volvo. Volvo's not funding them anymore, and in theory, I don't. They might have some relationship, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
Uh,
Yeah, it wasn't because they ended on bad terms. It's just they thought that it was more appropriate to separate the two brands. So,
Especially because Volvo is trying to make EVs of their own.
yeah,
And it seems like Polestar is trying to be more of an eco-friend, trying to be more of a budget average Joe fan brand. And I don't know if you know this about Volvo or not, but Volvo
that's not what I've learned about. Polestar is more of a performance brand, actually.
Yeah, well, they're more of a performance brand, and Volvo is more of a luxury brand.
Yeah, Volvo's more into the luxury / mainstream. I consider them luxury because if you take a look at their interiors and the general quality of the cars, Volvos are beautiful cars.
Yeah, they really are. It's just such a shame that they don't. It's just such a shame that they're not really that popular in North America outside of Colorado and the northeastern United States.
I don't know. There's quite a few Volvos around here, actually.
Well, they're not very popular in where I live in the southeast.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Though it might also make sense because I live in kind of a poor area, so
Yep. Technically, I do too, but I see so many brand new cars. Like, I am so shocked to see the number of electric cars around here. Oh, fun fact! I saw a Silverado EV today.
that's cool.
Yeah! Did not expect to see that! But, yeah, I'm so shocked at the number of electric cars. I spot one every single time I go into town now.
Yeah, there's sometime. Yeah, I still have. Yeah, most of the time I don't even spot electric cars when I drive.
Mm-hmm.
Although I also don't drive. Although I suppose you spot more electric cars because you basically the main road through your town is one of the main roads through UP Michigan. Though I imagine
no, it's not actually. In fact, where I live, we are technically we're not on the way to anywhere. You go through Marquette if you want to continue across the UP into Wisconsin. You don't come up through here.
Well, you don't. Well, I meant the main north to south route throughout the UP, or one of the main north to south routes, not the
okay,
east,
yeah,
not
that's
east
true.
to. Yeah, but you also. But I imagine there are more. I imagine if I go on my local interstate, there are probably more EVs on there. But I have yet to drive on my local interstate, so.
Yep. Yeah, it's so strange for me to see so many electric cars up here because again, this is literally middle of nowhere, Michigan. Like our biggest attraction is the snowmobile trails and the university. That's it.
Yeah, and I live in a partially urban and partially rural area.
Yep. So, it's weird to think. Anywho, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the Polestar phone, but I think we might have worn that topic out.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that.
But I guess our next topic is that Boston. So you know Boston Dynamics' famous dog-like robot Atlas.
Spot.
Huh?
That was Spot.
No, it's Atlas.
Why did I think it was Spot?
I don't know, but they have now announced a new updated version of Atlas, which is all electric.
What was it before?
It was parts of it were powered by gas.
So it had an internal combustion in on the thing?
I don't know, but now it's all electric, so which allows Boston Dynamics to focus more on the AI parts of their robots.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we're going to be a long ways away from that. In fact, I hope that by the time those things actually come out and become mainstream, I hope I am long gone off this planet. I am not excited.
There's actually scientific laws that prevent humans or that prevent any robots or any man-made objects, including robots, from becoming smarter than humans.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to follow those rules and laws.
It's a scientific law, like it's impossible.
That's a problem. A lot of laws are made to be broken.
It's not a government law, it's a scientific law.
Well, once upon a time, science was everything revolved around the Earth. The Earth was flat. That was scientific law at the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but aside from the point, they're robots. Robots are going to it's going to be a minute before, a little while before robots become majorly mainstream. Though there is a big new innovation that is our next topic that is very interesting.
Frictionless motors. How did they make that?
So basically, for those of you who don't know what a frictionless motor is, there's a research lab out in the Indian Ocean on some islands, and there was a team of scientists that was able to develop a frictionless motor. And the idea is that rather than being powered entirely by gravity, the idea is that the frictionless motor is powered by electromagnets.
Okay.
So this means that in other words, if a frictionless motor, you won't have to deal with quite as much wind resistance and such, because airplanes will also be far more efficient, and other aviation equipment.
So this is supposed to be for aviation stuff?
Primarily, it'll be primarily for aviation stuff, at least for now, but they can apply, but I believe they can apply it to other stuff like cars.
I wanted to say, because if you can get a quote-unquote frictionless motor in a car, that would drastically improve the efficiency of the vehicle.
Yeah, frictionless motors, they're not mainstream yet, so it's hard to get excited for them, but at the same time, they're still really cool.
Well, I still have my doubts for solid-state batteries, because how long have those been in the leaks and rumors and, they're right around the corner, that's going to solve everything. To me, that's just vaporware.
Yeah, now, this time a firm has actually developed it, or remember how they've even been telling, well, our grandparents at this point that, flying cars are just right around the corner. Soon we'll all be driving around in flying cars.
Yeah, I think we already solved the problem for 3D traffic.
What's the problem for 3D traffic?
Well, the idea of flying cars is so that way you can stack cars on top of each other, and so that way you're not limited to lanes on the road and the thing is that I actually think the way to solve this is how a lot of interchanges work actually. Bridges, tunnels. Because the reason why I think this is a better solution is for energy purposes. Not only does the car need energy to move forward and back, but now it needs energy to hold itself off the ground. That is just... You're burning so much energy doing that compared to burning it all up front at once, building be it a bridge or a tunnel, and once it's done, it's done. You don't need to put any extra energy into it other than maybe maintenance every now and again. But it'll be substantially less than just a flying car needing to expend so much energy just to keep itself in the air.
Or else they could just do their part and actually, or else the governments, particularly in the United States, could do their part and actually build more roads, especially interstates, to help alleviate traffic jams.
That or find a way to decrease our dependency on the automobile, but I highly doubt that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, for commercial uses, I can see how they can do that because they can have cross-country railroads do that.
Yeah.
That's more efficient, but for consumer uses, especially here in the United States, where we're very much more independent culture than Europe, than Europe and Japan and all those, basically everywhere else. Then,
yeah, walking through the streets of DC. That is. No, I technically have not been in like downtown Detroit or St. Paul either. Like, the only big cities I have ever gone to are St. Paul, Minnesota, because my grandparents used to live there. Detroit, Michigan, because that's where, well, rest in peace, that's where my grandmother used to live in the winter. And DC. Those are the only big cities I have ever been to. And it was such a strange experience of walking through, or for the most part I was scootering my way through DC actually, but it was so strange to see how all of these places were so close together, and I was walking, no need for a car because everything's close by, compared to here. Oh, I need a bike bare minimum. I need to have a bicycle bare minimum in order to get into town. So it's a strange thing to. You're so used to having to drive or ride a bike into town to do everything. While when I stayed in DC for how many, at least 2 weeks, I think, it's it was so weird to actually, I just walk out of the hotel and, well, there we are. We're at where I need to be because everything's relatively close by. No cars needed.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I personally prefer to have my own car and such because I'm not a big city type of guy.
Neither am I. I prefer to have my own car and live outside the city where it's quieter, because that is a big problem with cities. They're loud. They're chaotic. Because you got a whole bunch of chaotic, stupid people all crammed into a small plot of land.
Yeah, that's precisely the point. The only bit. In fact, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's only. Not counting cities that I've driven through, I've only been to that I've driven through or ridden through. I've only been to 3 major cities in my lifetime. Though if I count cities that I've driven through, I've been to 1, 2, 5, 7 maybe.
Meanwhile, big cities. What's that? You ain't got anything like that around here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a problem in itself. Anywho, wow, we got so far off topic. What were we talking about?
The frictionless motor, though, I think we've gone. Though I think we've worn that topic off enough, so now we need to move on to our next topic, which is that another scientific a professor at Georgia Tech University has managed to develop a graphene computer processor.
That sounds interesting.
So silicon computing lately has just been getting a little bit more. The upgrades have been getting a lot more meaningless.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
it's because the limits of how many transistors we can put into the silicon chip is increasing. We're getting really close to the limit, and so the next step in this is going to be using graphene computer processors, which are not only they're very cheap to produce, they can be made using existing manufacturing processes, and graphene can even be applied to quantum computing.
So I wonder how Apple's going to brand it. Are they still going to brand it when they eventually adopt this technology? Are they still going to brand it as Apple Silicon or Apple Graphene?
Actually, that's a good point.
Because I think at this point, silicon has now become so synonymous towards processing chip, be it CPU, GPU. It's become so synonymous with computer.
Except for the fact that silicon is actually found in plants, and it's also used to purify, and it's also used in glass production.
Yep. So, I don't know. It's just I wonder what Apple's marketing department is going to do if they ever adopt this technology.
Well, this perfectly goes into our next topic, which is iPhone 16 Pro rumors. As the iPhone 16 Pro, I believe the Pro Max is rumored to get a super telephoto lens. It'll get 40-watt wire charging, 20-watt MagSafe charging, and a graphene heatsink.
I'd say out of all of those things, it needs the heat sink the most.
Yes, because the iPhone 15 Pro, it was already known for getting a little bit toasty.
Yeah. Well, that was also the case with the 14, I believe, as well.
It was not. I don't remember any iPhone 14 issues with the 14 Pro overheating.
No, it was the 13. 13, I recall a lot of reviewers were complaining about, like when they're playing games, their phone will start to heat up. Max Tech is an example, actually. So.
Yeah, I don't watch Max Tech.
I don't really much either. I just remember watching a video 2 years ago from them complaining about how Apple's not doing a great job when it comes to heat management, and I should know because this thing, I don't know why, but whenever I use PlugShare on this thing actually heats up real fast. So.
Well, we know what Tabby would say about your iPhone XS Max overheating when it uses PlugShare. It's because it's a XS Max.
Yep, but I still love the device. It does basically everything perfectly. That, and I don't use PlugShare that much since I don't drive electric yet.
And another thing to consider on why your iPhone XS Max might be overheating is that, especially with Apple's poor optimization of older iPhones on newer iOS versions.
Oh, just so you know, this was an issue with the 13 Pro too. It's not exclusive to my XS Max. It's also an issue with my 13 Pro, and I think the reason why I don't feel it as bad with the 13 Pro is just because of improved silicon design. But that's really not saying much.
Uh,
So it's not an exclusive issue to my Tennis Max.
and more importantly, the 40-watt wire charging and 20 wired charging. It's taken Apple quite a long time to get faster wire chart and wireless charging, so I'm glad that's coming.
Wonder how many people will remember to buy more powerful bricks to use that.
Pro for the 16 Pro, because the people who usually buy Pro iPhones are usually the people that know a thing or two about phones,
Yeah, usually.
or at least know enough to buy more powerful bricks.
Yeah, I still slowly charge my. I still use 5 watts to charge my phones every night.
I use 20.
Yeah, I always use the 5 watt. I use a 5 watt wireless charger to charge my phone every night. Never has been an issue. As long as nobody bumps the phone off the charger, because that can happen. So,
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, I've gone into why I don't charge my devices overnight.
so, yeah, there's that.
But I guess our next topic that we have to talk about are rumors for the Apple M4 chip, which are that it's rumored to debut later this year. It's going to be AI focused, of course.
Yep.
It will supposedly debut with a new MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, and an iMac.
32-inch iMac, perhaps.
This actually brings us into one of our future topics, but the next 32-inch iMac is rumored to release in 2024, actually. So maybe it has the codename iMac Pro, allegedly, and Face ID is being tested for it.
Oh, that would be so sweet.
Do you want to buy that thing?
Well, for Face ID especially, because you know me and my eczema, it's just, can I justify a... It's probably going to cost me around $2,000 plus because big screen, I'm going to spec it out because it's supposed to be a performance machine. And I don't think I'm in a stage in my life where I can justify spending money like that, because what I have right now works extremely well. And one thing that I like about my MacBook Pro is sometimes I'll edit videos in my bed instead of here at the desk, especially because I really need to take the time to clean this desk off. But I'm going to like it a lot. It's just I'm going to really struggle to justify actually buying it, because considering what I already have, it really almost is completely unnecessary. So
Yeah, I understand, because I'm not at a stage in my life when I can just splurge on technology. Though to be fair, I'm also to be fair, I care about saving money too.
yeah, I got a car to pay off. I got to either save up for a house or at least a plot of land somewhere else, because I am so sick of living here. I need to stop letting tech products rob my finances to getting there, because ultimately those are much bigger and more important goals to achieve than... I have my 16-inch MacBook Pro right now, and it basically does literally everything I need it to do. And do I have gripes with it? Yes. Are they substantial? Their level of substantiality is extremely low, to the point where it's pretty much negligible. So,
Yeah, I even have gripes with my MacBook, but it's not nowhere near the gripes that I had with my 2019 MacBook Pro. And at this point, I'm just gonna because I don't have a lot to spend my money on, because my Apple collection, at least as of now, is set enough, as well established enough that I can that I can't really buy anything more for now until more iOS devices depreciate in value. My iPhone, I already have a good. I'll probably won't be upgrading my phone until the iPhone 17 Pro. I'll probably upgrade my Apple Watch at the same time. My iPad, that's actually going to be my iPad. That's that I'm fixing to get that. I'm my upgrade in the next year or so. Then my MacBook, I plan on upgrading this MacBook in 2027.
I pretty much plan on. I mean, again, if Apple brings back the Touch Bar, we're going to have a different conversation here. But for the most part, I don't think I ever plan on upgrading my MacBook Pro until it actually breaks, like, completely. Or, no, scratch that, until it ends software support. That is going to be important.
Yeah.
Because you know I care about having the latest versions of whatever. So, yeah, unless it actually physically breaks to the point where there really is no point in even attempting to repair it, or until software support ends on it, or if Apple brings back the Touch Bar. I've given them a list of options. Any of those will do it. So,
All right.
it's hard to justify that.
Well, meanwhile, do you have anything more to say about the rumored M4 chip debut?
I think it's too soon.
I
think
don't.
Apple needs to slow down.
If it debuts in October and they release it, if they're going to go on a yearly cycle, which seems like what they want to do, then I think it's fair.
I still think it's too soon.
It obviously seems too soon now since the M3 chip just debuted last October, and that's only been 7 months.
I actually think every 2 years would be a healthier cycle.
I suppose Apple's also a bit pressured to do this right now because of AI. And you know how Apple wants to keep their stock investors happy.
Yeah, true. But one of the benefits that I thought was supposed to come with Apple Silicon upgrades is now that Apple is in control of when the chips actually get released, because this was a problem with Intel, Apple can more streamline the release process of their Macs. And we were hoping that we wouldn't end up with a kind of like a situation we did with the M2 and M3 MacBook Pros, where M2 had come out and then it hadn't even lasted a full year. There was a new MacBook Pro already out to replace it.
I suppose Apple's just gotten so used to just releasing new Macs randomly, which is they've been doing now for the past over 30 years at this point, so...
Yeah, the truth is, I think they need to slow it down. They just need to slow it down.
Or else Apple could just do dedicated Mac. Or else, hear me out, Apple could just have one dedicated event. Hold up. I have an idea for how Apple could streamline their events.
Throw it out there.
So my idea is that Apple, for a March event, March is when they could debut the new iPad, the new Pro, basically all their standard level stuff, like the new Apple, the standard level the regular Apple Watch, the Apple Watch SE if necessary, the iPhone 4. What am I trying to say? The regular iPhone, of course, the average Geo iPad, and potentially not any Macs. The regular AirPods. Like that could all debut at a March event, and then June would obviously be a software focused event.
Yep.
And then September would be when the Pro iPhones and the Pro Apple Watch and the Pro AirPods all got unveiled, or the Apple Watch Ultra. it'd be when all that stuff got unveiled, and then in October or November they could do a Mac event when they unveil all their Macs, and they could do Pro iPads in their September event.
Yep. It's an idea. One that Apple is probably not going to take. So.
Yeah, that way they could streamline their whole release cycle, so that way people would know, hey, now is the time to buy Mac.
I think they're doing this just for the sake of unpredictability. Because
I suppose Apple also will hold. I just came up with a theory on why being more unpredictable might be better for sales.
Well, for one, it helps with the Osborne effect.
What's the Osborne effect?
Basically, you have an existing product, but then you come out with something even better, well, coming soon. But in that time period of waiting for the new product to come out, people have gotten so excited for that new product, they don't even want to buy the old product that you have.
Yeah,
I believe it happened to a company called Osborne, hence the name Osborne effect.
What did Osborne do?
I don't know. I don't know much. All I know is that the word or the name Osborne was involved in it. There was a company associated with Osborne, and they had an existing product. They had announced a new product that was so much better. It's like, to the general public, why buy it? Why buy the old product? The new one's so much better. So they decided they're going to wait for the new product, and as a result, nobody bought the old product. The company ran out of money because of it, and they filed for bankruptcy, and yeah, they never got the new product. So on one hand, it helps Apple when it comes to the Osborne effect, this unpredictable release schedule, so that way now you can't. I mean, we know there's a bad time to buy iPhones, and it's right before September.
There's a reason why everybody got worried when Apple's sales decreased last June and July, although we know it's because that's when new iPhones are about to release.
Yeah, that is a part of the Osborne effect. Everyone knows at this point, because Apple, except for that 1 year in 2020, for the most part, they've been so strict on releasing an iPhone every September. And so the closer we get to September, the larger of an effect the Osborne effect has on them when it comes to their current.
That's why I think if Apple wants to keep iPhone sales consistent, unless they either randomize iPhone releases to make them unpredictable, which would be best for business, they would just have to go ahead and do. They would just have to again, splitting the cycles up, splitting the releases between the regular and Pro iPhones would be ideal. So that way, just as the Osborne effect starts to kick in for one series, then another series will come out. Part of another series will come out to keep the sales balanced.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a balance that so far I think Apple's been doing a pretty good job at balancing. Which, it's annoying for us, but dang it really helps them out a lot.
There's a reason why they're the richest company in the world.
Yep. Yeah, they're not stupid.
Did we mention that the Mac Mini is probably going to skip the M3 processor?
The truth is, I really don't care about what M-series chip is in a Mac. It's really, as long as it has an M-series chip of any kind, I'm happy with it. Because, I mean, come on, M1 is still overkill for so many people. In fact, the 15-inch MacBook Air that I mentioned, my cousin just got it as a graduation gift, high school graduation gift. It's not the M3 MacBook Air, despite that's been out for a bit.
2 months, or only a month actually.
Yeah, well, she got this like 2 weeks ago, so. Yeah, it was around the time it was my grandpa had asked me which MacBook to get her because the M3s had just come out at the time. He hadn't placed an order yet, so he asked M3 or I found a similarly priced M2 15-inch MacBook Air with 16 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. I think it was sold at Best Buy. Whatever it was a screaming deal, and I am so glad that I suggested that M2 15-inch, and that's what he got my cousin, and my cousin is extremely pleased with that. In fact, she has no idea how she's supposed to take full advantage of that M2 chip.
I would have gotten
the exact same case with M1, so I really
if I was
don't
your grandfather,
care.
then I would have bought her the M3 just that way she'd have just that satisfaction of buying a new proc. Though, again,
But
though
the
again,
M2 was the M2 was brand new, box completely sealed.
I mean, I meant like the latest, I should say.
It's not that old though. Like it's less than a year old.
I know it's not. I know it's not that old, but
That and actually knowing that family, they're coming from like a 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. That's what her family had.
oh
So, regardless, it was a massive upgrade either way.
yeah, I
So-
need to. Yeah, I still want to get a Retina MacBook Pro just for my collection since they're really nice. They're really cool
So-
computers.
So yeah, keep in mind she was coming from a 2015 MacBook Pro from her mom. It was her mom's computer. That's what she used for schoolwork and such. And so it's a massive
that's
upgrade
the-
either way.
That makes it a little better.
Yeah. They don't care about exactly having the latest and greatest things at the time. They're not fast at upgrading their tech. Like my aunt still uses an Apple Watch Series 3.
Yeah, I still know a few people that use Apple Watch Series 3s, and I don't. And
I
why
don't
would
know how
anybody
people
use a
use
Series 3? Like the
I
Series
know,
3,
right?
you know, like the Series. I know that Apple Watch upgrades may not be the. I know Apple Watches sometimes have meaningful upgrades, so sometimes they don't. But come on, like the upgrades do add up over time, which again is why I suggest latest and greatest tech. And you can't argue that there's no changes between the Series 9 2023 and the Series 3 from 2017 actually from the previous decade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only like Series 7 when I think Apple Watches have. Oh, wait. The Ultra came out during Series 8, but then again, Series 8, the only feature was marketable towards women. So,
Yeah.
if you ask me,
And the
in terms of this design, it peaked at Series 7. And literally anything after that is. It's
That's
not
why I
even
hope
worth it.
That's why I hope the 10 hopefully will fix that. Which speaking of the Apple Watch 10, its next rumors are that it'll have a more efficient display.
A more efficient Apple Watch display that should help with battery life. Oh wait, but Apple doesn't upgrade battery life unless you go to the Ultra.
Or just think if it's more fit. Now it won't have that drastic of an effect on battery life because there's still going to be more components and such taking up battery in there, and it'll be thinner, but still, a more efficient display will help with power consumption nonetheless.
Yeah. As long as you don't turn it up to 2,000 nits.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to be excited for the. What is it? Series 10?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to market it as.
Yeah,
It's-
that would be.
It's so hard to get
At this
excited
point-
over a watch.
I know my next Apple Watch is definitely going to be whatever the latest Ultra is at the point of buying, which will probably be an Ultra 4 if they just stick to the annual upgrade cycle.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to see like either a big The one thing I wish that Apple Watch has had is glucose monitoring, and this is so relevant because like that same cousin actually was recently diagnosed with diabetes this year, and now needs a good way to keep track of her blood sugars and all that.
Yeah, diabetes. Yeah, I know it's hard to man. One of my friends who has diabetes, he actually carries around he actually carries around two phones with him. One is just his iPhone 14, which he just uses for normal stuff, and then he has another phone that's connected to some sort of sensor on his arm that he uses to keep track of stuff for diabetes.
I'm surprised that he didn't just move that app over to his 14, but okay.
I don't think, or I think it might just not have hard. It might have be hardware. It might be hardware. It might only work with that specific hardware.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't asked. Actually does. Actually, I believe he sometimes listens to this podcast. So
Again, just use the 14, but
maybe
well.
he'll. And or at least
Then again, my mom still uses her iPod Touch from 2015.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have that. There's that.
She still uses that S5, by the way. She still has it.
And I met someone at school today who still uses an iPhone 6s. Although she's going to be upgrading soon.
Yeah, I think it's 6S really had it. It had a good life. It was a really good smartphone.
Yeah, Yeah, you can argue that iPhone upgrades have gotten stagnant, but when you consider the fact that over time the features start to add up, which is why I like to stick to my 3-year upgrade cycle for phones, there's a huge difference between the iPhone 6s and any officially supported iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Meanwhile, I don't really think I'll ever have an actual upgrade cycle anymore because I already have so much. I technically have the latest iPad Air right now.
Technically you do. So do I.
I'm completely happy with my MacBook Pro to the point where I've already mentioned what it'll take for me to upgrade that. And if my Tennis Max got lost software support today or this year, I have my 13 Pro Max that I'll just put my SIM card back into. I'm really not compelled to buy anything new from Apple. And again, that 13-inch iPad Air rumor that we're speculating, it all really depends on how Apple prices that thing out. And I will be selling my 5th gen iPad Air in order to get that because I have no use for 2 iPads and I can't afford to lose a ton of money on just gadgets. So I don't know. I don't think I'll ever find an actual cycle in terms of upgrading my own personal tech. And the only time I'll buy the latest and greatest, say, like, if I had the money, the only reason why I'd buy the 16 Pro or whatever is just to review it for the channel, and then I'd probably sell it, because the truth is I don't need it. Literally all the tech I have right now is just fine.
Alright, well, I guess our next rumor that we need to talk about is that the next MacBook Air is rumored to release in early 2025, which is a big surprise.
Yep. I think Apple needs to slow down with their release cycle. It's just too fast.
Well, it's better too fast than too slow.
I mean, it's not like the competition's going to catch up anytime soon when it comes to best battery life in a laptop.
Alpha, there's actually something. There's actually a very. This is one of the most important things. This is one of the most important lessons that anybody can learn in life, whether it be companies or people. Once you get up top, you have to do work as hard as you can to stay up top, or else you'll fall.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's true.
because
But I mean, like when it comes to the
because
iPhone, Apple does not have to work hard at all. Because if anything, the reason why Android's having their downfall right now, it's not because of Apple, it's because of Android. It's because of themselves. They're tripping over themselves. It is very evident Apple is not working that hard in terms of coming up with upgrades for the iPhone. They are not working hard at it at all. I don't recall the last time I've seen Apple actually compete and make an amazing iPhone, and the reason for that is because they don't have to. The Android competition's just sucking enough to the point where why try? It's a bit of a reason why I have an issue with Microsoft. Microsoft has the majority of the market share, except because nobody else is even competing with them. Be it because people can't justify the prices of Macs. I know it's a dumb excuse, but still, a lot of people can't justify the prices of Macs. And, well, we all know that Linux is just too complicated for average Joes. As a result, everyone just leans towards Windows, and because of that, Windows doesn't even have to try, and we are seeing exactly what they're doing because they're not trying.
And sure enough, the Windows market share is collapsing.
Yeah, but it's not collapsing at a fast rate. Because, again, what are the consumer's options? It's either you go to a Mac, which scary for people, I know, but it's either you go to a Mac or you study even harder to learn how to use Linux. I'm not even going to bring up Chrome OS because, well, again, the second the internet goes out, it's a paperweight.
And Chrome OS is technically a build of Linux.
So, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, when it comes to a product release cycle, because for the most part, when it comes to building an actually good laptop, Apple's not going to convince the majority of Windows users to switch over. It's just not going to happen for the obvious reasons of app support and, well, it's what they know, it's what works, and Macs are too expensive. Despite that, we are in the know and we know how bad Windows sucks. But Apple's not going to sway those users over. They're not going to sway those users over.
Unless they decide they've had it with Windows, or else I think the biggest factor that gets people to switch to Macs is just honestly, I don't necessarily want to use this term, but basically, you have to have influence of people who use Macs. That way, you want to get a Mac yourself.
It's kind of true because for the most part, the people that I talk to, just so you know, I don't know a single average Joe who actually likes using Windows 10 or Windows 11. I don't know a single person that's
not a gamer. My mom
actually
likes using Windows. My mom likes Windows, though. She switched to Mac OS, so...
Yeah, it's kind of saying something, but I really don't know anybody who actually likes to use Windows. Because all I hear from them is, like, they have random strange issues and they have to keep calling tech support, or they have to call IT at their departments to get their computers to run the way they're supposed to. And for the most part, these people I talk to, they're in complete despair. They think there's no hope and that Windows is literally their only option. I'll bring up that I switched to a Mac because of this, but they're too afraid to try something new. And because of that, they're choosing to live in this despair of Windows.
Yes, that's a big... Yes, this John Prosser quote keeps coming. This John Prosser quote is is one of the most important quotes ever said by YouTube and anybody. Frustration is the key to change, as let's just take a look at my tech ecosystem. Why did I change? Why did I change from my iPhone 11 Pro Max to my iPhone 14 Pro? It's because my iPhone 11 Pro Max, I had a lot of frustration with it. So that was what led me to change to this.
Why you know me, I'm a classic example of frustration being the key to change. Because again,
you switched to the Apple ecosystem.
I was once upon a time an Android user. I was once upon a time a PC user.
And let me grab my stuff. Let me grab my two previous daily iPads, that main iPads I used to co-use.
Yeah, I
why
left
I
Android
my iPad Pro
and
9.7
Windows.
inches and no, why did I switch from my 9.7 inch iPad Pro and my iPad 7th generation? It's good to my iPad Air 5. It's because they both, my iPad's 9 Pro 9.7 inch had a terrible battery in it, or has a terrible battery in it.
I still think my iPad has a bad battery life. So, yeah, frustration really is the key to change. It's just for some people, they'd rather live in this pit of despair and still not switch anyways because they're too afraid to.
Some stuff fell down my shelf, so I had to clean that up.
So,
okay, good to go.
Yep, I think we knocked that topic out of the park.
Moving on, why did I upgrade to my 2023 MacBook Pro? It's because I was frustrated with its. It was because I was frustrated with my 2019 MacBook Pro's inefficiency and battery life. Why did I upgrade to my AirPods Pro 2? It's because my first generation AirPods Pro half the time didn't even want to connect.
So, yep. Anywho, still got 8 more topics left. We gotta wrap these up. Jeez.
Yeah, it's okay if we don't get to all these, but our next topic is that the M3 Ultra is rumored to remove efficiency cores.
Full-time performance, okay?
And I guess if it's going to be in desktop computers, I guess that's okay, but...
Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense for desktop because the point of it is we're not restricted by a battery. We don't need to worry about chewing through a battery. We have, as long as the power doesn't go out, we have unlimited power. Let's take advantage of that and see what we get out of it.
However, the problem with that is that my problem with that is that you still have to keep in mind that hopefully the M3 Ultra computers being the Mac Studio, and Mac Pro, if they get the M3, because they might just go straight to M4 also. Hopefully they won't consume too much power on the grid, because the problem is that for most majority of people, power costs money.
Well, Apple's Silicon, even their performance cores are some of the most power efficient. Even the performance cores are more power efficient than what you'll find in basically the rest of the competition. So.
Yeah, I get that the performance cores are more efficient, but still, efficiency cores are important since there are people, especially a lot of businesses that use Mac Pros. They are billed for, especially because they're billed for apparent power, so they're billed for even more electricity. Therefore, they need more. Therefore, they need to save as much power on the grid as possible.
But that, and also, I mean, again, in all seriousness, why would you need that much power?
I
And
don't know. That's not.
I think a big problem with that market right now, especially, is uh, if you're the most people that I know who use Mac Studio and the most intensive things they do, it's mostly video editors, like Marquez, for example. But even then, video editors like us, or even these big production studios, I'd argue that they don't need the Mac Studio with the M Ultra series chips because again, when the M1 Pro MacBook Pros came out, that retired MKBHD's travel iMac Pro. They used to travel with an iMac Pro because a MacBook Pro used to not be able to perform well enough. And again, Marquez is the guy who once upon a time had a Mac Pro with, what was it, 96 gigs of RAM and a crap ton of storage. I don't remember how much his machine cost, but it just had a crazy stupid amount of specs. And he said, hey, I mean, he's editing big time videos, and for Intel at the time, yeah, it made sense. But even he switched to a Mac Studio, and at this point, the only reason why he has the Mac Pro again is because, well, he's Marquez. He can afford it. Why not? So,
Even though the Mac Pro is stupid.
yeah, it just does not make sense. And the biggest reason why I also struggle to see these super powerful M Ultra series actually being used in big companies, it's because of,
Cost.
well, not that, also software support.
That's true.
It's
Because a lot of
it is-
software aside from video editors and music production, like for music production, for music and video production, then obviously you do need a Mac, but otherwise, Mac Studios are not the most justifiable computers. Like for your like for your work studio, like at your office, for example.
Yeah, like we need SolidWorks. It's not available for Mac, but also even if it was, if I recall, Nvidia still makes graphics cards that are much better optimized for doing those types of things, like rendering 3D models and such. I mean, Macs can do it too with various other CAD softwares and all that. But the majority of that optimization is actually found on the PC side, believe it or not. So,
But the problem is that the software that PCs run, being Windows, just sucks.
yeah. The hardware, I don't complain that much about PC hardware, to be honest. In fact, I love my XPS. I really do like my XPS. The only thing I despise about it is the software it's running. I despise Windows.
That's the reason why I hate all PCs, is because they run Windows.
Yes.
And Windows is terrible.
But the hardware itself is really good. So, yeah, the thing is, it's hard for Macs are best when it comes to video editing and music production and various other. There's not that many, but there are some other high power intensive tasks that Macs are better at. But when it comes to 3D modeling or, well, 3D modeling is also commonly used in terms of gaming production. That's why so many games are found on the PC. But it's just, on the PC side, that hardware is just built for it. And despite that, yeah, Windows is terrible. The hardware is still built to just, it's more optimized for running CAD and such. That's why we still use PCs in especially the engineering field. So, and if that's the case, if PC is still more optimized for that types of things, well, when it comes to music production and video editing, I'm doing this on an M1 Pro MacBook Pro. A computer from, what, 4 years ago?
No, 3.
3 years ago, excuse me. A computer from 3 years ago. And I have no complaints with performance. Despite that, I edit 4K 60 FPS, sometimes ranging from over an hour long. My limitation is storage. That's my limitation. It's not CPU performance or GPU
Yeah, this is
performance.
my M3 Pro MacBook Pro for just editing videos in iMovie, since I had to go back down to iMovie because my Final Cut Pro trial expired, and unlike what you used to be able to do, you can't just re-download the trial over again to use because Apple restricted that, and they also limited a student discount to only college students.
Yeah, that
So
sucks.
now I can't. So now, in other words, I have to pay $300 for Final Cut Pro, which is not money I'm willing to spend on a video editor because I don't use Final Cut Pro enough. So now I'm back on iMovie, though.
Maybe once you go to college, then you'll be able to.
I'm not sure if I'm going to college, though.
It's not because of that video I sent in iMessage, is it?
No, it's just I never watched. I haven't even watched it.
Oh, well, I found it interesting.
No, it's just because. No, it's just because I just don't. I just genuinely. If I'm gonna start my own tech company one day, if I'm gonna start my own tech company that's based on my own rules and my own knowledge, then why do I need a college degree when I can just spend time building up my own company? As going off on a side tangent, like we frequently do. Like, it just makes more sense for me to start a company when I'm 19 and graduating high school versus when I would be 23 if I graduated college, since I didn't start kindergarten until I was 6.
So, yeah, I guess then you will unfortunately have to pay the full price. I'm so lucky that I
Yeah.
actually managed to get that discount when I did.
Yeah, I tried to get the student discount when I was going to consider buying this MacBook Pro, but apparently high school students don't deserve student discounts.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Because I did nothing special when I did it. I'm not a college student. I just used my regular email. And it worked. I got $200 off my MacBook Pro, and I managed to get the student discount bundle for get the entire Pro suite, and here I am today, editing with Final Cut Pro, and I absolutely love that software.
Interestingly enough, when I signed up for monetization on my YouTube channel, though, one of the requirements was that you were supposed to be 18 to sign up for it, and I just took a photo of back then it was my learner's permit. My real learner's permit that showed my real age, which was back then 15, and it showed no parent signature or anything, but they let me go through with it.
Have you been paid from that yet?
I have not.
If I had to guess, they might be withholding that from you until you turn 18.
No, they're withholding that until it's at least I earn at least $100. So wait a second. I think I might have hold up. Please tell me they're not going to withhold the money for.
I wouldn't
23
be
months.
surprised, because when I initially got my bank account, that actually the way it works at my bank is until you turn 16 and can prove a valid driver's license or a state ID, any money that's put into that account is withheld from you until you turn 16 and prove otherwise that you can withdraw from it.
I was able to get my bank account activated when I was 15.
I don't recall how old you have to be to actually have one, but
I suppose it varies
policy
by
is,
state.
though, until you turn 16, you can't even withdraw from it. All you can do is deposit. I mean, it's good for building savings, but, bank account's a bank account. You need to do a little bit of both for obvious reasons.
Apparently I won't make them they might withdraw that they might wait until I'm 100, I think they're waiting until they can pay me $100 as their minimum, though. I wouldn't, though. My main Google account technically says I'm 25, so. Or no, I'm not 25. it thinks that I am 27. Yeah.
Yeah, except the thing is that you've submitted your permit.
Yeah.
That's legal documentation. When everyone knows that the age that you can associate with that account, it can be bogus. Everyone knows you can assign a bogus age to get past whatever restrictions. Everyone knows that.
Google's locked down on that a lot more in recent years, though.
I think if I'd be able to create a Google account today and say I'm under the age of 18, then I could state that I am 18. And how would Google know any better?
They on my second YouTube channel account, in February 2021, which was the month 1 month before I turned 13, they actually sent me an email requiring me to show an ID to prove that I was at least 13.
That's weird.
Yeah, so they do check. So they do check that on newer Google accounts, though. I think the only reason why I managed to get away with it on my main YouTube channel is because I created that account back in 2015, back before they did check. So they just assumed that I was automatically over the age.
Yeah, it really creeps me out when they ask for IDs and such. Really creeps me out.
They legally have to because because the reason why most websites require you to be under 13 is because it's illegal for websites and online services to collect data of users under the age of 13.
Meanwhile, they're asking for your data to verify that they can't collect your data.
Yeah, that's true.
Backwards.
But
That's the one backwards thing that I think about it. Google is actually requesting your data, in fact, very personal information, just to verify whether you should have access to these features or not. And again, this is Google. Are they as bad as Facebook? No.
they're actually worse. They are actually They've actually proven to be worse in some cases, though.
Oh, Facebook is still worse overall. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Excuse me, Meta.
you don't even know what Google gets involved in.
Oh, I know. Smartphone hacks. I've had that happen. I've had data stolen before, and it sucked.
I don't mean data. I mean they have really shady. They have really shady ethical, like even worse ethics than Meta.
Oh no, they cannot beat the Zuck when it comes to poor ethics.
Well, Google. Well, Google does a lot more political manipulation than Meta does, and I know Meta does a lot.
And also, Meta, I have recently learned, is responsible for a lot of... And I have to censor that for adhering to YouTube's policies.
You're not allowed to even mention that on YouTube?
Nope, can't mention it.
Well, that's good. That's fair.
So, I do know that Meta is very much responsible for facilitating a lot of...
Oh, yeah, they are. But I guess we shall get off of that topic and on to our next
enough
topic,
of that.
which is that... Did we cover that the M4 Mac Studio is rumored to debut in mid-2025?
Yeah, truth is, don't care.
All right. What about the M4 Extreme chip is rumored to be in the Mac Pro to differentiate the Mac Pro enough from the Mac Studio, since we all know that the current Mac Pro is basically useless, but it's apparently going to support up to 512 gigabytes of RAM.
Again, though, why would you need that?
Just like the Intel 2019 Mac Pro. And it'll be two M4 Ultras fused together.
Yeah, the problem is nobody needs that.
There are some people that do need that, but again...
we just listed the issue about how small that market really
Yeah.
is. The only person who would buy that is like Marquez Brownlee, because he can, or iJustine, or any of these other big Apple fan YouTubers who have the money to splurge on the best of the best Apple products.
And this is our next topic, which is, unfortunately, regarding stupidity.
You know, even if they bring this to the MacBook, am I going to use it?
No.
No. Nobody's going to use
Which
it.
is why
I
it's
think Apple will
stupid. And just so you guys know what this topic is, touchscreen OLED MacBook Pros are rumored to release between 2025 and 2027, and I like the OLED part, though
I
although
do
not
too.
the price
Well,
part, because
no.
I think
No, I still prefer mini LED over OLED.
I actually prefer OLED, though that's just I like the look of OLED. I don't like the price of OLED.
I prefer mini
No.
LED because it has the benefits of OLED and it also has amazing HDR, something that OLED has just never been really all that amazing at.
Actually, yeah, I like mini LED too, but
Yeah, so that's why I prefer mini LED from a
Yeah,
technical standpoint. So
but
I'm not
still,
a fan that they're getting rid of that.
OLED MacBook Pros, or touchscreen MacBook Pros. Steve Jobs already stated that this shouldn't happen because, in case you don't remember, he stated once at an Apple event that we tried a touchscreen Mac, but it just doesn't work. As after a while, your arm just wants to fall off.
They tried a touchscreen touch bar. Despite how amazing that was, they still axed that.
Yeah. This rumor, I honestly I honestly have a hard time believing this rumor because touchscreen Macs, the rumors for them have come time and time again. Like, I remember back in 2011, there was allegedly a rumor that an iOS-powered touchscreen iMac was on the way.
The number one thing that... So, Linus Tech Tips, there's one thing about Linus that really annoys the living crap out of me, and when it comes to him talking about MacBooks. He says that Apple needs to put a touchscreen on it.
Oh my.
Meanwhile,
No, they don't.
Meanwhile, do you want to know the laptop that Linus uses?
A MacBook Pro?
No. Linus is a PC guy.
A PC without a touchscreen.
He uses the Framework laptop.
Let me...
Does not have a touchscreen. And he's demanding another company that the truth is he doesn't give two craps about. He's demanding they put touchscreens on their MacBooks.
How stupid.
When he doesn't even use a touchscreen laptop himself. And even when he has tested touchscreen laptops, I don't think he's actually used it a lot because from what I'm hearing, literally everyone in his production facility, and this goes to basically everyone else I hear, nobody uses the touchscreen. Nobody!
Yeah, I had to my old Chromebook, which, hang on, let me find where it is. Here it is, and I actually haven't charged this thing in quite a while.
I still can't believe that PC manufacturers actually still try to market touchscreens as a selling point. How is it that they haven't learned that literally nobody cares?
Yeah, this Chromebook has a touchscreen, but it just doesn't work very well when I've tried it. And my Toshiba Windows 7 desktop from 2011, guess what that also has?
A touchscreen. And who used it?
Yes, but I don't. But I hardly use it because it's just not that fun to use, and it's also not that responsive.
Yes, and
The only reason why I use it is if I can't get a mouse connected to it, then I have to use its touchscreen.
even then, that's still not that practical because you're using an operating system that's just not optimized for it.
Especially Windows 7, it's not optimized for a touchscreen, and eventually I might dual boot Windows 10 or 11 on it, though that's also not optimized. Although,
Yeah.
actually, Windows 8.1 on that desktop might be nice since that's touch optimized. Ooh.
Yeah. But guys,
know.
if Windows today still isn't optimized for a touchscreen, do you think macOS would be any better? Look at it. It's not optimized for touch at all.
So Apple would have to do a major overhaul to make it optimized for touch. And do you remember what happened when Apple's biggest competitor tried to make their computer operating system optimized for touch?
It didn't go well for them at all. It did
No.
not go well for them at all.
We're referencing Windows 8, mind you.
Yeah, Microsoft really had to hit the emergency brakes on that and turn it around, because it was not going good for them at all. So this will probably do the same thing that happened with the Touch Bar or 3D Touch. It'll come. Apple will soon learn that, people will soon learn, you know what? Touchscreens on laptops? They don't need to be there. And then Apple will soon learn that, and they will axe it.
And then when I make a retrospective on the 2025 Macbook Pro in 2035 or whenever, then people will look back on it as if it's a cool laptop, and in fact, that might actually help its long-term value more than its short-term value, since a lot of collectors will be interested in the 2025 MacBook, or whatever year it comes out, the touchscreen MacBook Pro comes out, just because of its touchscreen.
But even then, comparing collectors to the size of the mass public, it'll be
collectors
so
will buy
small.
Most tech collectors want to buy the rare obscure tech.
Yeah. And that's exactly what this is going to be. It'll be for the collectors who want to say, hey, we have a touchscreen MacBook.
Yep.
After that, nobody else is going to care, and Apple's going to figure that out very fast. It's the same thing that happened
and
with
even the
3D
collectors
Touch,
won't care
the
at
Touch
first.
Bar, the iPhone mini series.
Apple killed off the iPhone mini series way too soon.
Despite that, there was a passionate community who wanted the iPhone mini series. The sad reality is it wasn't big enough. And that is ultimately what ended up axing it.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I want tiny phones. I do, but that's just not the way the rest of the market is going.
And not gonna lie, I want there to be small phones too, because I want the option. Am I going to choose it? No. But it should still be there. But evidently, that market, despite how bad Tabby, or me, despite how bad we want that, there's not enough people that want that.
Well,
and they ended up axing it.
I've actually thought about starting a new smartphone company that specializes in making small phones.
I wish you the best of luck, because you're going to capture a lot of people, but I think once you get all those people, you're going to start struggling to sell them afterwards.
And that's why I'll have to do other cool stuff to the phones too, like, I don't know, curved sides.
Oh, I really hate how Android has been abandoning the curved screens.
Or what else? Yeah, curved sides, that's an important one. Oh, unified camera bumps, that's a big one.
Yes!
Yeah,
Please
like unified camera bumps. I would design my own I would do similar to what Firefox OS did, and I would design a web app based operating system that would primarily work with web apps at first, though I would offer an app store too. So that way I could avoid Android, so that way I can capture a whole market and say, hey, look, this is an iPhone, this is an Android, this is better.
Ooh. Check iMessage.
Huh?
Check iMessage.
Oh,
He dinged
Tabby
the
dinged his
Audi.
car.
Oh, he dinged the Audi. He's gonna have to get another loaner. What fun! I actually currently have a loaner.
Why do you have a loaner? And more importantly, what's wrong with not Red Fox? Stardust.
Yeah. There's an issue with the wiring harness in Stardust. It turns out I had a little friend living inside that car.
There's rodents again in your car?
The joys of living in the outdoors. Yep, there was a rodent living in my car. I wish I had garage access to park it there, but I don't. And as a result, it has to be parked outside, right by the tree line, where, yeah, evidently it attracts rodents. But yeah, it turns out they chewed my wiring harness, and they've disabled a few things on my car. So as a result, it's currently in the shop right now getting its wiring harness replaced. And as a result, I currently have a loaner vehicle because they couldn't get it to me completed today. So I'm currently driving yet another GMC Terrain.
Oh, fun.
I do not like that vehicle at all. Honestly, I would have taken like a base model bare bones Chevy Malibu. I would have taken that over the Terrain. I don't like the way it drives. I don't like my... Again, people say that they love their crossovers because you sit high off the ground and you have a commanding view. Well, I hate that because now I feel extremely less disconnected from the road and I have less of an idea of what's going on around me. And a big thing that I hate about a lot of styling trends with crossovers and SUVs, it's their high belt line. That high belt line makes it insanely difficult to see the road around you. Be it the lane lines in trying to park the thing or cars right next to you. I hate those high belt lines. And it is sadly a common trend in styling of cross. The reason why those high belt lines exist is purely for style.
That's stupid.
It is. I mean, some might argue for safety. There's less... No. It's not for safety.
If you can't see the lane lines, it's not for safety.
So, yeah. As a result, it makes it really hard to see out of that thing. I feel like I'm in a boat with some really tall walls that's really hard to see out of. I do not like driving that thing. I feel so dangerous driving that thing because I can't see out of it.
I'm surprised that's even legal.
I hate it. I truly do. And the weird thing is, Stardust actually has, for a sedan, it's actually a little higher than average belt line, but somehow I have much better visibility out of that car, and I think that's because if I were to park the Terrain next to Stardust, well, comparing the belt line's height from the ground compared to... Yeah, the point is, I can see better out of Stardust, a sedan, than I can a tall, king-of-the-road feeling crossover SUV. I hate it! I genuinely feel unsafe driving that thing. So, yeah. I do not like driving that GMC Terrain, and I really hope they finish up my car tomorrow, because I do not like driving it. I want my car back. It's actually a bit of an issue I had when it came to driving the Blazer EV as well. So,
is it just me, or does it seem like your new car is going in the shop a lot?
Like, the reason why it's got... The reason why it's gone to the shop a lot is because, well, one, I still got the warranty on it, so I'm trying to take care of even the smallest little things possible. The smallest things. But the reason why it's been going to the shop a lot as of recent is because they were struggling to actually find what was wrong with the car. They thought it was the grill shutters. Nope, grill shutters are fine. And it was finally recently they discovered it's the harness. It was chewed. There was a rodent living in it, and that rodent messed up a lot of things in my car. So as a result, that's why it's in the shop a lot. They're trying to identify everything. Unfortunately, sometimes you can't get it done in one fell swoop. Compared to Red Fox, all the damage with Red Fox was not the result of a rodent. So yeah, that's why Stardust has been going to the shop a lot.
Meanwhile, my car, because the tire pressure sensors were reset, now tire pressure sensors in my car go off every time I drive it because they reset to 50 instead of like at 40 by default.
Ooh! That's a bit high for a reset point.
Yeah.
I can see where the car freaks out. So,
all right, well,
yeah, there's
it's getting a bit. Well, we still have 4 topics left, though. It's 7:57, and so it's almost time for us to stop recording. So
let's just briefly mention that. What is it?
All right, so we'll just briefly mention these last 4 topics. Is that the iPad Air 6? It's rumored to have a mini LED display for the 12.9.
Oh, we talked about
to
that.
Recycle the old iPad.
Yeah,
Pro
we talked about that already.
Display. I didn't say it was mini LED though.
Apple
canceled their plans to make a micro LED display for the Apple Watch. The Logitech AI button is rumored to come in upcoming mice to launch AI because AI is the buzzword. And Samsung management, because Samsung sucks now, they declared emergency mode due to a lack of business, and so all the executives are now working 6-day work weeks. Allegedly.
I don't know exactly what's going on there, but okay. All right. There, we made it through. How long was that list?
25 topics.
Dang. And we still had side tangents.
Yep.
We did it, everyone.
Guess it shows just goes to show you how. Guess it just goes to show you how we can make it through any topics though. As always, thank you all for tuning into another episode of TIFP, or the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I am Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we're signing off for now, and we'll be back here with the next episode when, depending on how fast we can get this episode out, the next episode may just be discussing what's released at Apple's event. So as always, stay tuned for our next episode, and I hope you all have a good day or night, depending on whenever you're tuned in. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and peace out.
See ya.